A busy weekend of Premier League action and a giant clash to kick off the Champions League group stages. Joining me on this week's Sports Spread is Nigel Seeley from Bet Butler and Reuters' own Owen Wyatt. Gents, as ever, thanks very much indeed for joining us. And I want to sort of stress, we could talk about all 10 games this week because the Premier League's back on, but we're looking at the betting action where it's most exciting. So we're starting with Aston Villa-Swansea, which in many people's idea wouldn't be the most exciting game, but that's where the betting is. So talk us through the betting first, Nigel.
Yeah, well, it's a very, very close game to call, and the betting reflects that. I mean, we could talk about Manchester United, we could talk about Man City, but they're big, heavy favourites tonight. On the weekend. The thing about this game here is I think Aston Villa are the team that everybody wants to oppose at the moment. The manager's under pressure. Look at their starting 11. It's not a quality team. Swansea, who are many people's favourites to go down at the start of the season, have started off tremendously well in Miku, and all the new players have gone in. New manager Laudrup has continued the trend from Rodgers. But there is a price and there is a price and there's value. And Aston Villa now have gone to a price that I believe is too big. Now, if this game were played on the first part of the season, Aston Villa would be around about 4 to 5, 1.8 in decimals, maybe even shorter. But after 3 games, we've come to the conclusion Aston Villa are going down and Swansea are going to be in a European place. And 2.4 for this game, I believe, represents great value. I think Swansea will be very hard to beat at home. And if you look at their season last season, away from home, they weren't so strong. I know they've got off to a good start. I know they've got off to the players are playing well. But that bubble will burst, and I think it will start the weekend. I think Aston Villa now, on the price, 2.4 is a very, very attractive price for me.
How do you see it?
The bubble's not going to burst, but the air's going to go slowly leaking out. I think this one, I'd be on for the draw. 0-0 and Villa to be booed off at full time.
That's a regular occurrence, and we're getting used to that. But in terms of relegation terms, we're so used to seeing them struggling to stay up.
I said at the beginning of the season I thought they would be involved in a relegation scrap. Nothing they did at the end of the transfer window reassured me that it was going to be anything other than that for Villa this season. I don't see them getting a win against Swansea. I see it being a draw, 0-0.
OK. Talking of relegation, you said also that West Brom should be one of the teams that you look for relegation. I would remind you they're on what?
I don't remember saying that. I said Liverpool. I don't remember saying West Brom.
I think
was it Nigel? It was me.
7 points, currently lying in. I mean, that doesn't mean anything at the moment, and Fulham safely in there. What do you make of this game, though? And Fulham at home, normally pretty difficult to beat.
Fulham are in a very, very funny situation at the moment. They've had their midfield ripped apart, losing Dempsey and Dembele to Spurs. Danny Murphy went to Blackburn, so did Dixon Atuhu. That's 4 midfielders that were regular players for Fulham over the last few years that have left. They've replaced them with Lassana Diarra, who was brought in at the end of last season, who's an excellent player. But Fulham have been effectively gutted. They've brought in the Greece skipper this week for a bit of experience. He's 35. I won't even try and pronounce his name, Karagounis.
I think they've got the hardest pronouncing midfielders into the winger. I was going to ask you to pronounce the winger as well, the young winger. He's got the longest name in the Premier League. He's very hard.
Yeah,
but easier for you to say. There you go.
Yeah. So who's going to win?
Fulham.
Okay.
Well, I think Fulham are so hard to beat at home, and regardless what team.
That's what used to be Fulham.
No, I still think this. I mean, they started off with a 5-0 win against Norwich, emphatic 5-0 win, and Dempsey wasn't there, but Dembele played well. He played well in that game. But I think Yole's a shrewd manager. I think Berbatov will be one of the signings of the season, and I think he'll get a lot out of him.
Fulham fans might not want to hear this, but I think their season hinges on Brian Ruiz. Yole likes to play with the number 10, picking up the ball and feeding it to the striker. And Ruiz has shown touches of brilliance since he joined Fulham, but it's been flaky. If he has a good season and fills that void left by Dempsey and Dembele, as in playing in the strikers and getting in the box and scoring when he needs to, I think that could be all right.
He took a bit of time to get going, but before his injury last season, he had his hair cut, which made him sort of get his form going rather than that long hair.
He's a bit faster. Okay, Sunderland, Liverpool. Liverpool, what can you say? Well, in terms of betting first, what are the
most interesting thing about Liverpool? Every single week, Liverpool are the most backed team in the Premier League. Now, you might have heard that from other people who come on here, but it's true. There are people who back them. The big syndicates in Asia always back Liverpool, and the reason why is they create more chance than anyone else. There's an index which is called an UR index, which big traders do, and what they allow people who know nothing about football to watch a game, and every time they go, they mark them down. And Liverpool are the highest ones. They hit the bar more times than anybody else in the Premier League, and they bet on it. Now, every single time Liverpool get back, so this 2.3 will be around about 2.1, but they never win. So, and this is the problem. And this here today is It looks, I mean, to me, a tone called draw. I think the draw represents huge value. 3.37, around about 9-4 if you're looking at fixed odds prices. I don't see many goals at all. I think a 0-0 draw, you know you're going to get with Martin O'Neill. Very hard to beat. Liverpool need to get something to get the season going. But Liverpool, every week for the last 2 seasons, have been the most popular backside. And people at the moment are losing lots and lots of money by doing it. I think they need to scrap the UR index and look at the actual results.
OK. Let's move on to Monday's game, Everton-Newcastle. Newcastle, I mean, can't really reflect what they did last season. Is that basically what we're looking at now? They're perfectly safe, but they can't do what the amazing things they did last season.
Everton have done what they haven't done for many seasons past and start very well. They tried a slightly different pre-season and it seems to be paying off. Also, they managed to keep a lot of their players in place and keep some stability, and we all know what a fantastic manager Moyes is. I fancy Everton to win this one 2-0. I don't think Newcastle will recreate last season's fantastic run, and this one an extremely difficult away fixture to Goodison on Monday night. I'm sure Nigel's going to tell me that I'm wrong, but I'm saying 2-1 Everton here.
I totally agree with you. I think they're the best bet of the weekend. I think Newcastle and Everton at home, Monday night, big crowd, under the lights. Fellaini playing unplayable at the moment. I think with Newcastle, there are 3 key injuries. The goalkeeper's a major doubt, Krul. The centre-half, Colaccini's a major doubt, and Tiote's out. That takes a spine in your team. I know it's a cliche, but take that. Them 3 players, Tiote especially, I think the team news is vital in this game. But at 185, which is 5-6, you can get 10-11 with some bookmakers if you shop around. They will nowhere near be that price come kick-off. This will be the biggest bet team of the weekend. I think Everton will start the game about 8-11. If you do fancy Everton, get your money on now, because that price will definitely shorten. Newcastle, I think they will be the team this season who won't be able to get better than last season. I think they'll flatter the deceive. I think they'll be in trouble, and I think they'll be a bottom half side. I think Everton on the up, and that price is a great price.
OK, let's turn our attentions finally to next week. The Champions League first stages, Real Madrid against Manchester City. There's also Ajax and Borussia Dortmund in that group. It's not, we shouldn't ignore them, but Real Madrid, Man City is going to certainly excite everybody here.
It will be the most bet football match so far this season, obviously until latter stages of the Champions League. I mean, it'll be a huge amount of money being bet on this, and it's good business. It'll be two-way business. There'll be people going to Manchester City, people back in Real Madrid. Personally, I think it's all about Mancini's tactics. Does he go there and try to defend? If he goes in and tries to defend, they'll get absolutely murdered. I think 1.62, 8-13 is a decent price for Real Madrid. I really do. I think City showed how poor they were in European football last season, and I don't think they're going to change it around this season. They haven't really got the new clientele he wants, and I can't see likes of Rodwell and Sinclair really worrying about Ronaldo.
Any clarity on Ronaldo as well?
I wouldn't be betting on Real Madrid to win. I'd be betting on them to win 3 or 4-0. Yeah. I think this is going to be a big shock for Manchester City. We saw it last season in Europe. Okay, the Tevez scenario didn't help, but this is just up to another level. Real Madrid, managed by Mourinho, the kind of talent that they've got on show at the Bernabeu. Those City players are gradually becoming, a solid, consistent Premier League team. But this is going to shock them. 3-0 or 4-0 Real Madrid.
And do we get any clarity on the Ronaldo situation in between now and then, or then even?
Look, I don't see Ronaldo going anywhere. I mean, it's just agitation, stories in Marca and AS, those 2 Spanish papers where things come out. You don't know where it's coming from. I would put my neck on the line here and say...
He's not happy.
220 grand a week he wants, all that depression, it must be at risk of some real life. I mean, the thing is, Ronaldo could get in any side, but who can afford him? He's going to be where he is. He's trying to get the pay rise. But, I mean, him up against... I don't know, Mika Richards or whoever, or Kolarov, it's going to be a no contest. I mean, Manchester City are in big trouble the weekend. OK, gents, thank you very much indeed for that. That's it for this week. Our thanks to Bet Butler's Nigel Seeley and Owen Wyatt, of course. That's all from us for now. I'm Nigel Stevenson. This is Reuters.